So welcome to this course. So you've probably by now watched one or two of these videos from Joe. Now, what I want to do is that I want to interject these videos with some of the things that we should be focusing on. And what we're going to be going through this week, the very first week, is what is a full stack media buyer? And the things then that we should be focusing on, in other words, what we're going to cover and also what we're not going to cover. So what we're not going to cover, marked with an asterisk, these are the things there that we might cover, but only if we have time. So there it depends, because you see, everybody's going to be working at their own pace. So we have to work out how long it's going to take us to get through these two main parts of the course that we have to digest, and then to see if we've got time for other things such as TikTok, X, or Twitter as it was formerly known, etc. But we might not. Okay, but they might become important for some of you, for example, the younger ones later on. So, what is a full stack online media buyer? And what does this person do? It's a form of digital marketing. And what they're trying to suggest, this is the Google definition that you're seeing on the screen. What they're trying to suggest is that basically that you become a jack of all trades. But rather than spreading ourselves too thinly, I think there that we should work in a much more focused way. And if we put our heads together, and if you pair up with your accountability buddy, as I've said there, Matthew, you pair up with Patrick because you're both in the same city. And Kevin, if you pair up with Adam, then that would be really, really good. And then we all report then back to Aquila on our findings. And instead of being a jack of all trades, let's say if we can focus on just two, if we focus on two of these behemoths, let's call them. So if we focus on the two main players in this, then this will become really, really, really powerful. So you see, what I want you to do is I want you to put yourselves, imagine there, close your eyes for a moment, and then imagine there that you're inside the head of your future employer. For what skills are they going to be looking for? And then, can you imagine if they're sitting there right now at this moment in time, at this moment there that I'm recording this video for you, and they're looking for people who are certified across the top players in this space. And this is what I'm going to help you to do. So they're with Joe's teachings, with Aquila's coaching and guiding in this subject. We're going to focus on the main two. And over the next 12 weeks, here's the thing. If you become proficient and if you become certified, and I also forgot about one third thing, if you become consistent, and if you consistently apply yourselves at these things, then we will arrive at a place where you are scoring 8 out of 10 or higher on your resume or your CV. Now, how are we going to score 8 out of 10 or higher? Well, this is what's going to become apparent in this short video. Because you see, what you're doing now at the moment is you're competing in a marketplace, in a huge marketplace, because remember, these are for remote online jobs. So you're competing against other people from the United States, from Canada, from Poland, from the United Kingdom, from Ireland, from lots and lots of countries, all of the countries all across the globe, because a remote audience means absolutely anybody. So can you imagine what's going to happen? These people are going to receive hundreds of thousands of resumes. Now, some of these resumes might come in and they might end up being scored at 20%, 30%, 40%, 50, 60, 70. But let's say then we've drawn this dotted line down because this is the norm. The top 20% of the people will be chosen. So in other words, the people that are scoring 80% or higher. Now, how are we going to get to 80%? That's a very good question. But whenever we do, you can imagine there what's going to happen. Because remember, as Aquila said so correctly, so truly, this is what's going to happen when the AI bot scans these resumes. So when the bot scans these resumes and they're only scoring 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5, 6, 7 out of 10, which is not a bad score, but it's going to reject these CVs. Because when the hiring manager is faced with these CVs that are scoring 80%, in other words, 8 out of 10 or higher, you can imagine that certain things are going to happen. Because the people then that the hiring manager reports back to are going to look and then they're going to say, well, hold on a second, you've done a really good job here. This person is really qualified. Now, and then imagine there are 4 CVs in the shortlist. So imagine one of them belongs to Matthew, one of them belongs to Kevin, one of them belongs to Adam, and one of them belongs to Patrick. Then, all of a sudden, whoa, you've got 4 people, 4 proficient people who have consistently applied themselves to this full stack online media buying position. Now, what are we going to focus on? We're going to focus on the fundamentals, what we have to understand. And you basically have to understand that there are only 2 huge players out there. Now, who are these 2 huge players? Well, the first one arrived in Dublin, Ireland in late 2003, in October 2003, and it's Google. But also, more importantly, because they had already started in the late 1990s, but then they give birth to something that is called Google AdWords. And as such, the world of advertising shifted. It shifted fundamentally. And in their platform, what you'll see is you cannot go back beyond 2004. But then a new kid on the block appeared, and his name was Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. And he sent his employees over to Dublin, Ireland, 5 years later, in October 2008, almost to the day. It was very, very strategic. And then, boy, oh boy, did that make a huge difference. So let's say you've got these 2 huge players. Now, Meta is purposefully drawing bigger, let's say 20% bigger, or it should be 20% bigger than Google, because in terms of the online advertising, Meta is definitely #1. So in terms of full stack media buying, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing first and foremost on Meta and all of the verticals that it comprises. And the good news is it's only one single more mouse click. One single more mouse click to get to the other verticals. Now with Google, it's slightly more complicated, but Google are #2 in terms of full stack media buying. But what our plan is to make you proficient in the world of Meta, in the wonderful world of Meta, and to get you certified in Meta and all of its verticals, 4 verticals, and then Google and all of its 4 verticals. They've both got 4 verticals. So it's really easy to remember. 2 main players, Meta and Google, and they've each got 4 verticals. So for the purposes of this course, and to become a full stack media buyer, you must understand that there are 2 main players out there. Meta, the bigger one, and Google, the smaller one, in terms of the online full stack remote media buying positions. And if you focus all of your attention onto these 2 main players and to their 4 main verticals, they've got 4 verticals each. Meta have got 4, Google have got 4. That's really important to understand. And then what I want you to do for next week is before the next lesson, I want you to name these 4 verticals. So there is Facebook. Obviously, the first one has been done for you. What are the other 3? You probably know some of them. But there are bonus points if you can name them in size from biggest after Facebook in terms of the revenue that it generates from this online media buying. After that, there are also the 4 main verticals within Google search. And I want you also to name them. The first one has been done for you, Google search. And just as for Meta, I want you to name them. There are bonus points if you can name them in the size from the biggest to the smallest in terms of the revenue that they generate for Google. Now, full disclosure, Google's parent company are called Alphabet, and then some of the verticals might surprise you. Full disclosure, I didn't know about #3 until last year, 2023, and I didn't find out about #4 until entirely by accident in June 2024. But when you obtain certification in the 4 verticals from Meta, the 4 verticals from Google, can you imagine what's going to happen? You're going to put yourself head and shoulders above the rest of your competition. And all of a sudden, you find yourself on the right-hand side of that dividing line, that dotted line, where the hiring manager has shortlisted, has asked the AI chatbot to shortlist the top 20% of applications. And then she's assigned the task of going through these like she's a real life, physical, breathing human being. The AI chatbot has shortlisted your CV, and you're sitting there with 8 certifications, 4 from Meta, 4 from Google. And all of a sudden, then you're positioning yourself head and shoulders above your competition. Wow. So imagine this is your resume. You've got the 4 certifications from Google, and you've got the 4 certifications from Meta. All of a sudden, you've got 8 out of 10. Now, remember, for this course, we're not going to be focusing on the other 2 unless we have time. And the other 2 are primarily TikTok, and the one that belongs to Mr. Elon Musk. One of them used to belong to Elon Musk, but now he owns the other one. So it used to be called Twitter. It was formerly known as Twitter, but it's now called X. If we have time, we might do it because TikTok ads are becoming very, very, very prevalent, especially in the people of Patrick's age. And there are a lot of people, a lot of these 17, 18, 19, 20 something year olds who are focusing on TikTok. But the average age of the people in this course is about 40 plus. We have to focus on the 2 main players out there, and they are definitely Meta and Google. So this is the big decision that we've got to make. Now we can either choose the easy path, and we can sit on our bottoms playing Fortnite for, I don't know, what was the longest you've ever played Fortnite for, Patrick? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 consecutive hours? Or we can think to ourselves, hold on a second, maybe there's a different way. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with the football player, or as perhaps you call it across the pond, the soccer player called Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo did not get to where he is today. He's a global media icon. He's got one of the largest followings in some of these verticals there that we're going to be studying. And if you associate his name, it's sure to have success. But he got there because he simply practiced and practiced and practiced. And the truth is, if you put in consistent effort into these 8 verticals in total, 8 verticals, and if you become proficient at them, if you become certified in them, and if you start to think of them and know them as well as you know the back of, what's that? The back of my hand, as well as the back of your hand, then you can imagine what will happen. What will happen is that you have chosen the harder path. And yes, I fully get that. I fully understand. It's much easier sitting on your bottom and doing other things there that we shouldn't be doing. But if we focus and if we spend a little bit of time each day, a concentrated, focused block of time, and that's why there, as we've said with Aquila, it's a really good idea if you set yourselves these accountability sessions where the 2 of you come together. Adam and Kevin, you come together. Matthew and Patrick, you come together. And then you lock heads and you exchange notes. Then, because you've got a mountain to climb over these next 12 weeks. If you do it, you will become so indispensable to these companies. Because let's take a job. Let's take a job like, for example, truck driving. With Elon Musk now being given carte blanche to do whatever he wants in the White House as a member of Donald Trump's new incoming administration. You can imagine there that these autonomous trucks are going to be rolling out, first of all in the US and then across the world. And then all of a sudden, truck drivers are becoming dispensable. But the truth is, there for the next 20, probably to 30 years at least, Google and its verticals and Meta and its verticals are not going anywhere. People are still going to consume these ads. And by doing these skills, you are guaranteeing yourselves jobs for years and years and years to come so that you can keep your father, if I'm related to any of you, in, let's say, the manner to which he is accustomed. So, full disclosure, I'm doing this with selfish means. It will give you so much power, so much power and so much credence. And if you employ these strategies, you will remain indispensable to your future employers for years to come. And there's no way that any more of you will ever face the axe again, as long as you follow these courses and these certifications and these strategies that we're going to be teaching you. We've got a real chance, but now is the time to embrace it, to take it. And before next week's lesson, imagine this scenario that your future employer, so while you're still an apprentice or perhaps you're at the interview stage, you present them with this opportunity. You say to them, okay, look, if you give me $1,000 US and 1 month, exactly 1 month from today, to go out there and to buy you and your company full stack online media buying, online media ads with whatever platforms that these people are prevalent on. It's going to be at least Google or Meta, maybe some of them, right? And then based on these results, this employer, she is going to award you the job to the best candidate. So she's only got one job. Now, who's she going to award it to? And what factors should she take into consideration? So imagine every single one of the four of you, Patrick, Matthew, Kevin, Adam, you've all got $1,000 in your accounts. They're into these specially made accounts. They're made inside the Facebook Business Manager. You'll learn about that later. And you've got $1,000 and you've got exactly 1 month. So what factors should this lady, should this future employer take into consideration when making a decision? So who should she employ 1 month down the line and why? That's what I want to know then before next week's lesson. So have a think about it, discuss it with your accountability buddy, and then let's come back next week and let's see what the answers are. And remember, think about those 4 verticals from Meta and the 4 verticals from Google. Okay? Thank you very, very much. My name, as always, is Paul PG Mac, and I will be seeing you in next week's video. Bye for now, and I hope you're enjoying the courses with Joe, and I hope, well, I'm still enjoying the courses there with Akila. So, really good job. Really looking forward to the next lesson.